Traditional history documents the movement of physical goods, spices, textiles, and precious stones carried by merchants across the globe. But beneath this physical commerce, these routes functioned as conductors for encoded meanings and social tensions. To map this process, we use the Brain Kinematics Model, or BKM, alongside continuity theory. BKM tracks how cultural signals propagate through networks, like neurological impulses, while continuity theory analyzes the resulting balance, or imbalance, within the receiving society. Central to this model are mentation pathways. These are the historical equivalents to the white matter conduits in a human brain, the physical infrastructure, like the Silk Roads or modern fiber optics, that allows cultural data to travel across a global cortex. The signals moving through these pathways are strain packages. A strain package is a specific symbol, pigment, or narrative that encapsulates a localized religious or political tension, allowing that abstract state to be transported and shared. The historical record chronicles how these societies manage these pulses of collective strain, seeking to integrate or reject the incoming signals to maintain cultural stability. The kinematic cycle begins with strain generation and packaging. A local need, such as the drive for religious transcendence, becomes embedded into a physical material or visual form, creating a unit of high-tension cultural data. This package enters the conduit during the propagation stage. It carries its encoded frequency across the mentation pathway toward a new cultural node. Upon arrival, the package enters the interaction stage. It collides with the local culture's existing strain field. If the frequencies are incompatible, the signal decays. If they align, they create resonance through constructive wave interference. Successful resonance leads to relaxation. The symbol hybridizes with local traditions, reducing prior tension as the system reaches a state of continuity, a new, stable cultural equilibrium. A symbol's legacy is determined by its ability to resolve these local tensions and settle into the long-term memory of a civilization. The pre-modern network was defined by sparse conduits and extreme physical resistance. Geographic barriers ensured that propagation was a slow, incremental process. Lapis lazuli, extracted from the mountains of Afghanistan, represented a concentrated package of visual intensity and untapped potential. This material moved through low-frequency conduction. It took decades to traverse Eurasia, moving at the pace of pack animals through a loose network of caravans and maritime ports. Receiving cultures filtered this rare import through strict religious frameworks. In Europe, the mineral was processed into ultramarine, a pigment so costly it was reserved for representing the divine. The symbol's power came from its rarity and the immense geographic distance it overcame, cementing its association with sacred prestige. In the BKM framework, this slow propagation allowed for deep relaxation. Incoming strain waves had time to be fully absorbed into local cultural attractors. Because the system moved slowly, it produced enduring cultural identities, stable continuums that could remain unchanged for centuries. By the early modern era, the network topology shifted. Centralized maritime empires and global mercantile finance created denser, more efficient pathways for exchange. A new high-tension signal emerged, cochineal, an intense red dye extracted from a New World insect. This carrier was not a loose path for pilgrims, but a directed, asymmetrical system of colonial extraction and institutional market control. European courts and churches filtered this symbol to represent wealth and global reach. The pigment became a visual proof of empire and the ability to control distant resources. BKM identifies this as an injection of high-amplitude strain. The speed and intensity of the signal were amplified by concentrated institutional power. The result was partial relaxation. Symbols stabilized into a visual hierarchy, but they remained charged with the unresolved tensions of global wealth inequality. The contemporary network relies on algorithmic distribution and near-instantaneous propagation. Mentation pathways now operate at the speed of light. The rainbow serves as a primary modern data point, a design sign of identity and political solidarity that circulates globally in seconds. This system is defined by multiplication. A symbol bypasses physical logistics to appear simultaneously in street protests, high fashion, and digital memes. This velocity causes fragmentation. Symbols arrive so quickly, they are often stripped of their historical context, existing only as aesthetic surfaces.
Rapid circulation triggers friction over authenticity and ownership. The global web allows for instant appropriation, leading to a constant state of symbolic conflict. The modern cortex is characterized by high-frequency oscillatory strain flows. Local cultures are bombarded by signals before they can achieve any internal balance. Under these conditions, we see incomplete relaxation. Symbols remain in a state of persistent fluctuation, mutating as quickly as they appear. This comparison tracks the evolution of symbolic flow, from the low-frequency sacred symbols of the Silk Roads to the high-frequency identity markers of the digital age. The primary driver of meaning has shifted from physical scarcity to digital circulation. Power is no longer found in the rare object, but in the most viral signal. This returns us to the axiom of continuity theory. Complex systems evolve through cycles of imbalance as they seek temporary moments of stability. Today, the sheer volume of mentation pathways has oversaturated the global cortex. The system is structurally prevented from reaching a state of relaxation. Civilization now functions as an evolving global mind, where symbols no longer serve to find an end to tension, but to navigate a permanent state of motion.